Okay, I've recorded.
All right, and I'm gonna stop trying to pretend like I'm leading this podcast.
Okay, unless you really want to host, I'll let you have it.
I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about today.
Fan subbing. In 3, 2, 1.
Oh shit, I did it wrong.
Oh no.
You were anticipating, you bitch. You want me to do it again?
Whatever.
All right, in 3, 2, 1, clap. Okay.
Whatever.
Did you not even
Fix
clap,
it
John?
in post. I'll fix it. No, I did. It's just really quiet.
Wow, okay.
I thought I heard it, but I wasn't sure.
I'll fix it in
Anyway.
post. God damn it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I'm your host, Alex, but you can call me Senpai. And joining me tonight, we have our czar of source material, John.
I'll fix it in post.
It's become your new fucking catchphrase around here. Oh god, if you always only heard some of the stuff that goes on before we start recording. And our chivalry of Shota, Shotaro.
Okay, boomer.
And that's something you
Wow.
keep saying to me, and it's not getting any funnier.
But
Actually,
it is
it
getting more accurate.
You bitch. The shot of my age. Okay, so tonight on the podcast, we're going to be discussing something that we all have personally talked about a lot behind the scenes, but we've never really actually had a full episode devoted to this topic. And we're going to be talking about some of the ethical issues regarding things like fan subbing and fan translation, sometimes collectively called simply fanlation, of things like anime, manga, light novels, and the like. Now, before we get started, I want to say something very perfectly clear. Now, I think I speak for everyone. If you two are going to say something any different, please speak up now. But what we're going to be talking about tonight should not be taken as an endorsement or an ableization, shall we say, of piracy on our part.
We here
we're
at
just here-
Anime Club After Dark do not condone or endorse the using and the pirating of any copyrighted material. For any business questions, please email insert Alex's email here. And he and his lawyers will get back to you as soon as possible.
His lawyers are just Alex in a different wig.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. But yeah, I felt like I should point that out there. Like, we're going to be talking about it tonight for what it actually is, but just because we're talking about it and the fact that, yeah, I mean, I will admit that I have used pirated sources before. I think we all have at some point or another to some degree. Just because we've used it doesn't necessarily mean we condone it, and we don't think that you shouldn't support authors and mangaka and directors that you like, if you can.
I'd just like to say that's like hypocritical, but sure.
I'm not saying it's not hypocritical because we all have used it, but I'm saying that if you can support them, you should.
Definitely,
Yeah.
I agree. I would argue that using it in and of itself condones it, but I guess that's kind of off topic.
That's kind of an
We like
existential question.
do what we say, not what we do. Okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, all the time, because, well, quite frankly, shows a bitch sometimes. Don't do that. Anyway, so I mean, a brief explanation, I guess, if you're completely unsure as to what we're talking about. So, fan subbing / fanlation. There's groups of people out there. They're usually young. A lot of them are in high school, college. These people who do this, they're learning or have learned the Japanese language at some point.
I
And
feel like you're
a
like
lot
doing
of people.
a crime profile right now. It's like
I wanted to give a
around
brief
20,
explanation
you
of what it
know,
was.
5'8".
I just can I continue now.
Okay. I don't know what the age
and
has
these-
to do, but go ahead.
I'm going to strangle you. I swear to God, I am.
It's just to give a little background on what we know about.
Okay, I'm just curious.
fanlation
How do
groups,
you get
okay?
this information? Where did you get this information from?
Because most people, most people who do fan subbing and fan translations of manga and light novels do tend to be on the younger side.
You know the
So-
ages of your fanlators.
A little bit, because if you actually go to your fanlators' websites, like they ask to go read their translated material, they will give a little bit of information of like, yeah, I'm just a 20-year-old kid in college. I'm doing this as a side project. I like this
How
series.
long they've been known the Japanese language?
Yeah, so you kind of get a little bit of information if you give credit where credit is due and visit their page show.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never done that before.
Yeah, you probably just read it on manga aggregate sites like
Yeah,
Manga
exactly.
Cack-a-Lot or something.
Honey, the less work I have to do, the better.
As
I
we
mean-
censor those in posts.
I'm not gonna censor it. Everyone knows. You just fucking Google free manga website reader or whatever. You'll get like Manga Reader. I don't know any other ones.
Because that's the
Honestly.
only one you've ever used.
Honestly,
No.
I don't even actually use manga aggregator websites anymore because they don't even have everything I want. So they don't aggregate as they should, as they promise to. They lie to me. So what's the point?
So this is a very good point to bring up. One reason for a lot of piracy in the industry is that you just can't get everything you want in a single place, right?
You can't always get what I'm sorry, I'll stop now.
I don't even know what song that is, man.
It's because you can't always get what you want.
Okay,
Circa
boomer.
1950?
Alex is an old man.
Okay, Zoomer.
I'm not even a Zoomer. I'm a millennial. Jeez.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to him.
I was born 5 days ago.
Oh shit! All right. Well, what we're here to talk about is fanlation wrong? That's a very loaded question. It's very heavy ended.
It is.
Morally, it's bad. Yeah, like you're stealing work and not giving money to the people who make it. Ethically, it's even worse because you're stealing money. Personally, I enjoy fanlations. Not gonna lie. My main reason is just that, if, for example, like I love the Overlord series. I love reading it. I'm too spoiled to go and learn moon runes, so other people got to do it for me, and I will gladly support them if they translate my moon runes for me, because I get it like a month after it's released in Japan. I have all the official Yen Press novels. I buy them as soon as they come out, but the problem really is that they don't come out as soon as Japan, and I'm a source whore. I want to know it right away, and I just refuse to learn Moon Rune.
It's interesting that you bring up Overlord because recently, the author of Overlord, Kugane Maruyama, I guess he had no idea that his novels are being fan translated, and he was like really depressed about it.
So
Like, it's like I'm so sad this is happening. I'm gonna just have to end the fucking story early now.
well, all right. So to understand a little bit about Maruyama, he works really hard. He gets really in his zone when he writes Overlord's light novel, especially with his editor. The web novel was pretty shit because it starts great, but then it ends really shittily. And when he got the light novel, it kind of was like revitalized and like, oh, he can change the story a little bit and make it end better. And he puts in a lot of work. He keeps making longer and longer novels, which is good. I love that.
I've noticed that because I've started buying the physical volumes, and they keep getting bigger,
Yeah.
and bigger, and
So-
bigger as you go along.
So as a content creator, he feels like he's being cheated because there are people who are viewing his work without paying for it. And I understand that, like this is your baby, you put countless hours into it, and it just seems like people don't care when they buy it or when they read it illegally off of a website. And it's true. But like I said, I'm fucking writing in English, Mariama. I'll fucking buy it. Like,
Wow.
if I had access to it in English as fast as like the fanlations, and I could buy it legally, I would. that's the main reason that I believe, like, I enjoy fanlations, just because, like, just like the people in Japan, like everyone else who consumes this media, we want it ASAP, you know? Why do you think Crunchyroll got so fucking popular? And they realized the idea of, oh shit, we should translate and sub this anime episode like 4 hours after it airs in Japan, or even sometimes like literally an hour and a half after it airs in Japan. It's up here in America, and people watch
I
it.
remember, when Crunchyroll first came out, I know Crunchyroll hates when people bring this up, but Crunchyroll was a pirate website when it first came out, when it first launched.
Yeah, because
for it's like the first year and a half to 2 years of its existence. Then it went legit. But I just remember when it actually did go legit, the idea of getting professionally translated subtitles within like 3 to 4 hours after it aired in Japan was like, holy shit, what?
Yeah, at first it wasn't
Everyone
even...
was like, oh my god, yes, give me more.
Well, when they first started doing it, it was because Naruto was super popular, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that was like its big launching point.
that's why people went to Crunchyroll in the first place, to even watch anime, because everyone could not be fucking arsed to go download it from .to-bio. And it was when
I forgot about that site.
I didn't. That's where I fucking, back in the day with all my Naruto.
I used to watch Naruto on a Cartoon Network.
Oh god, fucking scrub. But main point being is that I remember when it first launched, it was like 16 hours after it aired in Japan, and to me that was insane. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like only 16 hours after the airing in Japan? Like that's as fast as
Less
like
than a day.
Fanlations. Like Fanlations, like, were very passionate about their projects, and they would get the raw within 2 hours, and then they'd have it subbed and ready to go within 8. And I was like, that's that's what people want. But when Crunchyroll officially came out and they're like, yeah, we can do it in like 16 hours and it's official, I was like, that blew my mind. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So
And and by supporting us, you're supporting the industry. Of course, that's what they told us. Who knows if it was actually true back then?
yeah, but the fact that you could get it within the same day was just mind blowing, especially since it was an official release. And I guess this really just shows, like, people want their shit like immediately, right? We're all little babies. We need our fix, man. Just give us the anime.
And I just remember when they started doing that, I believe it was like 15, 16 hours is when they first started doing that, when they were doing professionally produced subtitles. And then as the years went on, that time frame kept getting shorter and shorter and shorter until they got it down to like 2 hours. And so someone out there, correct me if I'm wrong in this, I think the first time they ever had one where it was an hour after it aired in Japan with professional subtitles was the first season of Attack on Titan.
That
I
sounds
honestly
a little
don't know.
late. I'm sure there have been anime before that have been simul-streamed on Crunchyroll.
Maybe.
Within an
Maybe. I just,
hour.
for some reason, I remember a ton of people signing up for Crunchyroll around the time that Attack on Titan was airing, and well, a lot of it had to do with the way that they were marketing it as like being the only place you could watch Attack on Titan officially, and at least that soon after it aired in Japan. And I just remember, I know it had to be around that time though when they got that time frame down to around an hour after it aired in Japan. I just don't know if Attack on Titan was the first one.
Maybe. So we've talked about how like we need our fix for the anime as soon as it comes out, and that's what fan subbing has been giving us. And one could argue the existence of fan subbing has convinced like legitimate corporations that there is a market for this, and has given incentive to these corporations to actually monetize and incorporate businesses surrounding simul-streaming. And you could say that fan subbing has driven this industry to a point where you can stream a lot, or like most, if not all, of the relevant airing anime can be simul-streamed. But the thing is that the same can't really be said about manga. The manga industry, or the light novel industry, definitely not the light novel industry, has not reached the point where the anime industry is right now. So can you say that there is like some sort of legitimacy to fanlations? Because just like anime, fan subbing has driven the industry to be better So do you think that fanlations is a necessary evil to drive the industry to improve?
I think that there's no doubt that fanlations over the years have led to the rise in popularity of anime, manga, and light novels in the West. I think there's absolutely no doubt of that. I think in that sense, you're absolutely right.
So, with fan subbing, we've seen the impact that it has had on the industry and how it's pushed it forward to deliver the medium to more people, more available everywhere.
And faster.
With fanlation, like there's this, I think it was J Novel, right? I forget.
J Novel Club?
Yeah, J Novel Club used to be a fanlation group, and they got picked up to become official like releasers of stuff, and it's slowly changing. The like at least for manga and for light novels, it's slowly changing the
Definitely.
scape.
There's like a few like standout manga and light novels that do come out pretty quickly, but not on such a scale that anime has gotten to.
Yeah,
and there's there's also certain publishers out there, light novel and manga publishers, who official manga and light novel publishers, who are they may not be like the quickest in translating what they do, but they are some of the best. And the thing that comes to mind, it's one of the newer ones, but it's Vertical, who have been doing the Monogatari series translations of the light novels, and they're fantastically translated. They take a long time to come out, but they're fantastically translated.
And my main point is just like anime as a medium, it's pretty hard to steal like the official releases. I remember one of the main concerns of like having an official anime release, like official subbed anime release, was that there would be websites that would just steal it and then they just upload it to their own. But it's actually a lot harder than it seems. Crunchyroll has done a okay job at making sure people don't pirate their stuff. Pirates will always be pirates and they'll always find a way, but for the most part I think anime is okayly safe. Light novels is a little bit different because translating a novel and then editing the novel, it takes a long time, right? Especially when you got like something like Maruyama's Overlord, where you got over 700 pages of fucking shit to translate, and they have a lot of fucking make-believe words that you're like, all right, I don't fucking know how to pronounce this, and I don't know what it's supposed to like be spelled as, because they don't actually talk to like the creators and authors and stuff. You kind of just have to take a guess. But with manga especially, there's a lot of manga aggregate sites that just steal pages from people who just fanlate. And it's kind of a terrible industry to be in because you have these translators who are doing it because they want to. They like the project. They're not trying to turn a profit. Like, there are some, don't get me wrong, there are some fanlators who try to turn a profit. But there are others who are just like, yeah, we just need like 5 people to donate $20 a month so we can keep our servers running. Like, everyone does this in their spare time, so don't fucking sweat us if we don't get something out right away. This is a passion project. And for the most part, a lot of people are understanding and accommodating, though we do have the select few who are very entitled, and they need to get the fuck off the internet or go learn moon runes and stop harassing people who translate. So that's why...
But let me ask you something. It's because some of these people get into it originally because they want to learn the Japanese language, and they use it as a way to increase their skills with Japanese. It's something I did when I was learning Spanish. I would buy English books and then just go translate passages from those books into Spanish. It's how I got better at Spanish, and I think it's a legitimate way to learn a language, in my opinion. Just going and translating, fictional works into the language you're trying to learn. But then, if you can share that with someone, is that necessarily considered wrong? Should it be considered wrong?
Well, again, morally, ethically, yeah. Personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, like I said, I can't.
It is a legitimate way to learn a language, though.
I think the best way would be to immerse yourself with people that actually speak the language, but not everyone can do that. So
yeah, all things being equal, yes, the best way to learn Japanese is to just go to Japan and never leave.
Well,
because then you're forced to learn.
I think the best way to learn Japanese is to just listen to J-pop on repeat.
Yeah, oh my god.
I'm pretty sure that the best way to learn Japanese is just to watch anime with subtitles. Like,
I think the best way to learn Japanese
that's bullshit because I've been doing that since 1996. I don't know a lick of Japanese.
Is to be an anime character. That's how you should learn Japanese. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just become an anime character. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, immersion is the best way to learn a language. Like, you really can't ask for a better way to learn a language than to be thrown into the middle of a country where everyone speaks it but you. So you gotta fucking learn.
Yeah.
I feel like people share their works just because, you know, when they enjoy the work, right? When they're translating. For the most part, a lot of translators who do it enjoy what they're translating. They're fans of the series as well. And they understand that a huge chunk of people who enjoy the series do not speak Japanese. So it's kind of nice of them to just be like, hey, I'm doing this as practice, and once I'm done with it, here, you guys can read it too. Like, isn't this a great chapter? And it's kind of this like little family of online community, which is great. I just feel like the market for manga especially, a little bit of the web novels as well, is not ready for fan-related groups to become official because there's just too many works, in my opinion. Like,
there's too many groups or too many mangas.
There's too many manga out there that you can't really, like, how do you put a price on that? Even right now with the anime industry, we've got people with different streaming rights. Like, right now I'm watching a bunch of my anime on Hulu instead of Crunchyroll because Crunchyroll doesn't have anything I want to watch. And, you know, this is where we hit that part of what I was talking about earlier. If it's not available and people still want it, they're gonna fucking head to the high seas, man. Like, if Crunchyroll and Hulu did not have a show that I wanted to watch and it was through a different provider, I'm like, fuck, dude, I already have Netflix, Hulu, I've got fucking Crunchyroll. I don't want to pay for
Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I don't want to pay for another subscription through some bullshit service. Like, fuck that noise. I'm just gonna pirate that shit. And sure, quality drops when you go pirate. There's nothing I can really do about that. Streaming online without an official source is pretty shit, not gonna lie. For the first time, I think it was 2 seasons ago, for the first time I streamed, right, on an illegal website. And it was a terrible experience. I was like, oh god, no wonder I pay for streaming stuff. Like,
well, you say that about the availability thing, and you know, every single season there's like 40 to 50 anime that come out. A lot of the big name ones end up getting picked up by some streaming services, but you go further down the list, there's more and more of a chance that those anime aren't going to get picked up by any streaming service. So if you're looking for some kind of really niche anime that's down on the seasonal airing charts, I mean, what is your recourse if it doesn't get picked up?
Fucking go download it off of Baka Subs or some shit.
Lol. I mean, you say that, I don't know how you watch illegal anime, but you say that like it drops in quality, but you can also like just torrent the official release.
Yeah,
and
I know.
It'll be a better quality than the actual official release because you're not streaming it.
You're right.
That's actually what I did with Funimation releases a while ago when I still had a sub to Funimation. I legitimately had a sub and I tried to watch the shows and it was just complete garbage, so I just torrented their official release and the torrent was better. So I'm like, okay, I don't know why I have a sub to this, but I'll just watch it.
Yeah, it's kind of why I dropped my subscription to Funimation too. And it amazes me. They've had their online player for what, a decade now, maybe just a little bit more, and it still has the same problems it has now as when it first came out. It sucks.
Yeah. So this is, again, another driving factor of why some people like fanlations more or fan subbing. It's just the quality that these people put into these passion projects is a lot higher than these companies are willing to shell out for the Western audience.
Well, actually, I don't think that's actually fanlation, what we're talking about. That's just ripping.
Well, I mean, like I said, you're right. If you go do the torrents, you can get like 1080p. Even some of them are in fucking 4K.
Wow, okay. You should give me those torrents, honey.
Yeah, I'm going to say, if it's in 4K, someone has, like, rendered that in 4K. Yeah. It's not actually 4K.
No, but it looks great, and it's good quality, you know what I'm saying? And they're all in Markov files or MKV files, and it's great. But this is another reason why some people choose to torrent, though, to go to piracy. It's quality issue. It's availability, it's quality, and it's sometimes people are like, fuck it. Like, I'd like to give back, but this is too much fucking work. Let me just go to this one website that I know that updates on a fucking schedule. First of all, they have a fucking tight schedule, and they stick to it pretty fucking well. and you just
I also like how there's so many fanlation groups that if something happens and they miss their release schedule, they like apologize profusely for it for days.
well, because they know that a lot of people who what's the word I'm looking for, who go around their site, they expect a certain level of quality and they have the set schedule. Like, you know, Japan does that too, you know, with the whole train system. Like, if it's like 15 seconds late or 15 seconds early, they apologize. Like,
You get a pass.
sorry, we fucked up your day by, you know, not adhering to our schedule that is super strict that everyone needs to follow.
All these
Yeah.
fan leaders must be Canadian.
Because they're constantly apologizing.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe.
Canadians do love to apologize.
We do.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, eh? Sorry.
Sorry, eh?
Yeah.
God,
That's
you're
the
so racist.
exact accent we use, correct? So I've heard.
Sorry, eh? How about the Maple Leafs, eh?
How about
Okay.
the Maple Leafs, eh?
How about the
Okay.
Maple Leafs, eh?
We're not here to make fun of super lovers. Let's continue.
How about some Timbits?
Okay.
Also, Timbits are pretty good, though.
I'm not Canadian. I don't know. I'm 100% American. Get out of here. Anyway. Fuck,
So
where
I've-
were we? I'm lost
I've
now.
heard the
In Canada.
argument that fanlation is a good like alternative to official streams, in that like if an official stream is not up to your standards, there's always fanlation, and that's a good like alternate option that drives the official streams to become better. Like Funimation, like if without official streams, Funimation would not have an incentive to get better, even though they still haven't gotten better.
Let's say
Um,
they may have the incentive. They're not listening to it.
But I've also heard the argument that the punishment for being a bad streaming service is not that the viewer should go watch a pirated version, is that the viewer should just not watch it at all. Like boycott it. And I don't know which one is morally correct. Honestly, I think economically that it's more better for the streaming services for fanlation to exist, because I'm like, if we boycott it, honestly, I'm just going to forget about it, and then I'm not going to ever go back to the official streaming service, and they'll never ever get my money back. But if the alternative is always there, you know, that's always going to be on my mind. It's always going to be like part of like I'm always going to be interested in that specific IP. So if the official streaming service ever does get better, you know, I actually have an incentive to go back. So it's a little complicated, but I feel like the fanlation is doing some good.
Okay. I can see your point. Whenever I pirate for Chinese anime, specifically Chinese anime, all the time.
Isn't all anime
Because-
Chinese anime?
Yeah, basically. Like King's Avatar, I really enjoy the novel series. I had no way to watch it other than on YouTube at the beginning, and then I found some other like anime streaming sites that had it, the illegal streaming sites, and I watched it, and it wasn't great, but I'm a fan of the series, you know. If it ever gets an official English like release, I'll fucking buy it. And that's kind of where I stand with it. With Overlord, for example, when I first saw it, I was like, I need to read this. And there wasn't an English like translation yet, like official Yen Press release yet. So I said, fuck it, I'll fucking read it off of this website. And for the next, I want to say month, it's like 5 weeks, I read the first volume all the way up to I think it was at volume 7 at the time. Volume 6 or 7. I read all of it. And I was just fucking hooked, right? And thanks to this Fanlation website, I was a fan, and I'm buying the official shit now. Like, if it was available in English, I might have not done it, because the translation sometimes in English is not quality enough, in my opinion. I can say the same about Death March, the official like English translation. I did not like it. I just didn't like it, man. Like, they literally translated a couple of the words, and I was like, I don't really like how you literally translated it. I don't like how you changed some names. And also this release schedule is fucking whack, man.
So a similar argument could be made for Netflix's recent I guess you would say a re-release of Evangelion.
Yeah.
So Evangelion has now had 2 official like subtitle releases. I think the general consensus among most people, myself included, is that the original subtitles are better. But both of those were produced professionally, so you can have some of the same issues that you get with fan-lated stuff as you do with professional stuff. So it's not going professional does not always guarantee quality.
Yeah. And some people may hate me for saying this, but in some fan-subbed anime, I kind of like it when they throw in like a little translator's note so I can understand the joke better. Like, I'm not...
Hey, John.
What?
John, Kikaku means plan.
Oh, yeah? What's that fucking word? Nakama means friend. That's what I was thinking of.
Honestly, I think friend is a bad translation of Nakama.
Yeah, because it's more like comrades in arms. And
Yes,
it's deep,
I
has a
prefer
deeper meaning than
comrade
that.
because that makes more sense in context.
Yeah, but then...
Comrade!
Yeah, see, but when you say comrade, the USSR theme starts playing in my head. And
It's amazing when you say comrade to anyone in the United States, they immediately think like fucking communists.
right? Like, anyway, but yeah, like when I watched the Monogatari series, however fucking you pronounce it, the Bake series,
The Manogatari series.
the Bake Manogatari series. There's a lot of fucking Japanese puns in there that it goes way over my head because I don't speak Japanese, but thanks to the fan sub and their wonderful translators leaving me notes, like I got the jokes. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool,
I will say one of the things you mentioned the Monogatari series. I want to bring this up specifically. So there's a scene in is it Bake or Nisa? I can't remember now. It may have actually been in the 2nd season now that I think about it. But it's a scene where Araragi asks Hanekawa to do a tongue twister. And I don't even know what the fuck they're actually saying in Japanese, but they actually translated it as an English tongue twister. I'm thinking, thank God. Because that wouldn't have made any sense if you actually gave me the literal translation.
Well, maybe. I mean, you would hear what they say. So.
Oh, yeah, I would hear what they say. And in Japanese, it sounds like a tongue twister. But if they actually spelled it out, I'm thinking, well, this isn't a tongue twister.
True. There's some people that just like read the subs literally and then don't listen to what the people are saying. And then like if you literally just listen to like what they're saying, I feel like it would make more sense rather than just looking at the subs in a vacuum. But
I think that's all. I think that's a legitimate like comparison between literally translating what is being said versus having some artistic license and making it translate better into whatever language you're trying to do. Natai and I have talked about this, about how translation is just as much, if not more, interpretation than it is actual translation. Like literal translation from one to one.
Honestly, I prefer literal translation for anime because I can like hear the nuances in like the voice. Whereas in manga and light novels, I want what was the other to literal?
Interpretive.
I want interpretive translation for manga and light novels because I have no other reference to what they're saying. So only the words are there, so I need the words themselves to give me the tone.
I would say that's doubly true of light novels specifically because it's just blocks and blocks of text. Whereas with a manga, you can say that certain words can go with certain images.
Well, oh, excuse me. So,
He's dying.
I am dying. We're all dying slowly. Let's be honest.
Oh my!
In manga,
got dark.
it's like they also have wordplay and puns, right? And it's really hard to translate that into an official. Like, you can't literally translate that because it doesn't make any sense because we're not Japanese, That's why we have sandwiches instead of onigiri, like in Pokemon.
Oh god!
'Cause-
No donuts.
and donuts.
Donuts, not sandwiches.
And yeah, that's kind of like one of the things. It really depends. Like, I like to believe that I know a little bit more about Japan than the average reader because I know a little bit more and I do self-research sometimes because I'm bored and I'm like, hey, this looks like an interesting thing. And I like it when they do it literally and just leave me a little note of why it means it, because it gives me more insight to the Japanese like humor, the psyche, the culture. This is kind of why I don't like some official. Again, I don't like. So there's just some official translations where they're just like, fuck it, the audience who are gonna read or watch this won't even understand the joke, so let's replace it with something else. And
or it's even worse when they try that, when you can tell they're trying way too hard.
Why they say like 3
good example
words.
is well, no, I was saying a good example is the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney visual novels.
Okay.
They try so hard in the official translations to convince you that they're actually in America. Like it's like, and these people are eating fucking ramen bowls, and
Yeah.
and I forget what it is they actually try and say now, but it's
Hamburgers.
like hamburgers. They try and convince you that ramen bowls are hamburgers.
Yeah. That's kind of a localization thing, right? Because
Yeah.
an American audience, like, if you did not say that Phoenix Wright was a Japanese game, I still would have noticed, because first of all, there's a lot of Japanese settings, like with us
And imagery.
However, they do also have a lot of European imagery, like when they're at the Watergate Hotel and they're like at a circus, and it's like, this doesn't look like it's in Japan at all. Like, what the fuck, dude? So that's kind of, I feel like it's a thing to make it more localized is why they do it. It makes it more comfortable.
Yeah. And also they changed all the names, and like in Japanese, all of the names in Phoenix Wright are all puns, but none of them translate into English. Like Phoenix Wright's actual name in the Japanese version is Naruhodo, which literally means I understand.
Yeah. Well, that's because he's always like, naruhodo. Like, it's the pun, because he's always like, he does the, you guys can't see me, but I'm doing the pose that he does when he's thinking, and he nods his head up and down. And that's kind of the nuanced stuff that we lose in translation. But let's be honest, Phoenix Wright is a really awesome fucking name. And
I fucking, like, Phoenix is just a really cool name.
But I feel like we're getting off track. Why are we even talking about this?
I have no
Because
idea.
I mentioned Phoenix Wright because it's when translators or localizers try way too hard.
Oh, yeah, to make it try to
convince you of something that's obviously not true.
Yeah, but again, it's when you've got a series that has a bunch of puns in Japanese that obviously a Western audience would not understand unless they understood Japanese like nuances like that, it makes sense to try to do that. I'm not going to fault them for it.
Yeah.
Like, if let's say they had 2 different translations of the game where one is like literally just the Japanese one but translated to English words, but it has all the puns, I don't think I would enjoy it very much. And that's how I feel about some manga and some novels as well. Like, sometimes literally translated is better, sometimes it's not. It's really up to the person. And, like you said about the Bake series, when they do the tongue twister, like, the entire point of this tongue twister thing was to show off, like, how amazing Hanakawa is with her literacy abilities. And you don't necessarily need the Japanese tongue twister to let me know that it's a tongue twister. Just translate to English. Like, do an English one. And it's like, oh, yeah, she can do tongue twisters. Okay, cool. Like, I don't need the literal translation. But there's also some times where the literal translation has nuances to the plot. And that's where I get a little irked, because I'm like, shit, that had something to do with the actual, like, plot of the series. So I kind of wanted to know what that meant. Like, you would understand a little bit more. But, yeah, it's a fucking crapshoot, man, is what it is.
Yeah. So a lot of what we've talked about is, and this is just because it's a common language that we all speak, is talking about things that get translated into English. It's worth noting that not everyone on Earth can speak English. And as much as stuff actually gets officially translated into English, the more you get into other languages like Spanish, French, Italian, whatever, the less and less stuff gets more officially translated, which there's a lot of fan groups out there that do translations into these languages for stuff that has never gotten official translations in that language. Is that equally wrong?
See, again, it's because it's not available, right? And yeah, we can argue, like, Russian people, they probably wouldn't pay that much compared to, like, I don't know, Western, like, American people or something, because, we have the whole economy to consider. I'm not
Yeah.
making any snide remarks. I'm just saying, when you're so used to doing something a certain way, like pirating, you're kind of apprehensive to the thought of paying for something that was originally free, because it's, you know, when you get used to not paying, it's kind of nice, right? They have to offer more incentives for the official releases for you to go do that, which is why, again, with the, at least for subbing, it works well because there are plenty good incentives, which is like better stream quality, better subtitles, faster releases, more accurate releases. They instill a sense of community because they usually have a bunch of, like, you know, like in Crunchyroll, you have accounts you can talk to each other with and stuff. And it's just, it just feels like a better experience. But I also understand, like, not everyone speaks English. The French, the Italian, and the Spanish speakers love anime just as much as, like, the Americans and the English-speaking people do.
Oh my god, like, anime is pretty big in South America.
Yeah, fucking anime is fucking huge. And there's also the fact, like, a lot of Japanese novels get translated to Chinese very quickly because the Chinese audience is pretty big. It's a huge market. The Japanese anime industry has always talked about how they want to break into the Chinese market because it's closer, it'll cost less, it's easier to translate because, you know, they should.
The languages are way more similar than Japanese to English.
Yeah, because, you know, Japan stole kanji and they stole it from the Chinese alphabet, like, quite literally. It's all the same, so it's a little bit easier to translate things. And surprisingly, a lot of our English translations come from the Chinese translations, not the Japanese. FYI, in case some people didn't know. So it just shows you, like, people want it in every language, and they'll just do what they can to get it.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's probably a practical reason as to why a lot of English translations are done off of Chinese translations of Japanese works, and that's because if I'm gonna go into like a college or wherever to learn a new language, and I want to learn an Asian language, which one's gonna be more practical down the road? Is it going to be Chinese or is it going to be Japanese? Well, there's a lot more people that speak Chinese than Japanese.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that a lot of college students are, like, at least here where I live, a lot of our college students are Chinese people. Like, they're Chinese citizens here on a student visa, and they like anime too. And they want to get better at English as well, so they translate it from Chinese to English. Like, it goes both ways. Not just people who are Japanese to English, but people who are Chinese to English as well. There's a lot more.
Well, that's what the college that I went to had a pretty nice business school, and, like, all the students that I ever talked to that were either majoring or minoring in some kind of a business degree, they all said, like, the best thing you can do if you want to go into business, especially big business now, is learn Chinese.
Yeah, because
So it's a way more practical language to learn than Japanese.
yeah, and again, the Japanese send all their shit to China right now to get translated to Chinese because it's a big market too, so it's pretty readily available.
Yeah. It also kind of brings to the fact, so a lot of people say you want the most original source. I mean, is there anything wrong with necessarily translating from a secondary source if something's already been translated from Japanese into some other language? Like, for example, I can speak Spanish, and I know that there are, fan-lated stuff that goes from either Japanese to Spanish or Chinese to Spanish, as you just said. I mean, is it necessarily, are you losing more by translating from a secondary source to a primary source?
No sé, cabrón.
Wow. I mean, I would say probably, but I don't have any first-hand experience with multiple translations. But, like, just look at Google Translate. You know, that's all the evidence you need.
Plug your light novel into Google Translate one paragraph at a time. That's how you read it.
No, but I mean, like, that whole thing where you take a phrase and then you translate it through multiple languages, and it just gets so fucked up once it's...
Oh, yes, as we've done here on the
Yes,
podcast before with the Nozaku Game Night.
And that's just proof in itself that, like, multiple translations, you're gonna lose something. I don't think you lose that much, but I think maybe a little is lost.
I think it depends on how many languages it's going through, because, yeah, we have found out firsthand that if the more languages something goes through, the easier it is for stuff to get lost.
And it's clearly worse for light novels and then manga.
Oh, yeah, because it's just huge blocks of text.
So I can talk a little bit about that. You're talking about machine translations, and yeah, machine translation's bad. Like,
Oh,
in all
girl.
honesty, it only translates like I want to say 20% of the language correctly. So the other 80% is up to you to interpret.
Yeah, well, like machine translation is great for individual words. If you just plug one word into a machine translator, it'll get it right most of the time. It's that interpretation of sentences and ideas that it doesn't understand.
Yeah, and it's like it's also because some languages like so I speak an Asian language, right? Because I'm Asian. In my native tongue, like let's say to go smoke a cigarette, it literally translates to go burn the bitter fire or the bitter spice is what it translates to in English to mean like if you literally translated it. And it's like, well, I know that this means I'm going to go smoke a cigarette, but if you ask the machine to literally translate it, they wouldn't know that that's what it's supposed to mean. So they'd say, I go burn bitter spice. And that's kind of how machine translation works. And that's why it kind of sucks.
Yeah,
Honey,
it doesn't leave any kind of room for, I guess, colorful interpretation.
I've tried
Yeah.
watching anime that has been machine translated. It hasn't been admitted that it was machine translated, but it 100% was. And let me tell you, once I watched the same episode that was actually translated, it was literally an entirely different story. Like the plot completely changed. Like the characters were completely different.
It's like watching ghost stories in Japanese and then watching ghost stories in English.
Exactly, two completely different experiences.
Ron, he's going to rape us.
I can't be with you, not because you're a rabbit, but because you're black. Oh my god, one of the best English dubs in history.
Yeah. But that's not why it's so funny of a dub. It's because they literally are like, hey, we have this license for this thing that no one cares about, no one wants. Just do whatever you want.
Because it's
then they're like,
literally
right?
I mean-
an abridged series.
It was literally an official.
Kind of.
No, not kind of.
Yeah,
it
it was like an official abridged series. God, we should do an entire episode about ghost stories. It's such a good show.
So
It's a terrible show, but the dub is just amazingly funny.
But getting back on
But-
the topic about
Yeah, I actually had something I was gonna carry off this, but I've completely forgotten.
like ghost stories, never mention it. God.
Ghost Story just completely derails anything we talk about. Oh God. So I was gonna speak dubs. So we've talked about this in terms of things like subtitling and translating light novels and manga. But we haven't really talked about how this can affect dubs because fan dubs are a thing. They do exist. They're not as pervasive, I would say, as something like fan subs or fanlations of manga and light novels, but they do exist. Distributing that is way more difficult than distributing fan translated light novels or manga, but I think it's fair to say that some of these things have produced some really good quality shit.
Really? Like what?
Well, okay, so if you think about it, all of the abridged series are essentially fan dubs.
True.
Yeah, but they're comedy skits. They rewrite the show.
Yes, they're comedy. They chop up the animation and they kind of re-edit it into their own thing. But they are fan dubs. I mean, they are dubbed
by fans
separately
yeah.
from how
So the
Okay.
difference,
anything else is dubbed.
The difference. Well, I don't know if it is a difference, but for the most part, I see like fan subs as an alternative to official subs, and these abridged dubs are a supplement because like most viewers do watch the original and then they also watch the abridged, whereas that it's one or the other with the subs.
True, like a good example is Naruto abridged. I mean, the only reason I started watching Naruto abridged is because I watched Naruto. So you're right about that. I'm also thinking about how sometimes they'll just give official like dubs, they'll just show the voice actors the clip and then they ask the voice actors to come up with something. That was essentially what was done with Panty and Stocking.
Yeah.
I mean, they sat the voice actors that they chose down and they said, "All right, watch this. Look at the lip flaps. Come up with something."
Yeah, and then like, so Panty and Stocking is an example of how the dubbing industry they didn't literally translate everything. Like I'd say only a good 60% of it was translated literally. The other 40% was just ad lib. A specific
and a lot of swearing.
A lot of swearing. A specific scene is like when there's Panty and there's Stocking. Stocking's gaining weight or something. So then Panty's making fun of Stocking, and then in the Japanese she's just like pira 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 pira. It's just like peak 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 peak, right? It's just a sound effect. But in the English one, she's like, she calls her fat, tubby, chubby. Like she just uses insults, and I'm just like,
fat ass, lard ass.
Yeah, like that. And I'm just like, yeah, it still gets the message across, but it kind of loses like what the Japanese original meaning was supposed to be. It was just like, hey, I'm checking you out, you're getting fat, ha 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 ha. And it's just like it went a little bit far. It's like the English dubbing was a lot more rude, I guess.
Oh, it was. It was. They asked.
Crass.
They were asked to fucking just ham it up.
Yeah, and it was extremely crass. And I get that the show is supposed to be crass, but it's not supposed to be like that far into it, which is something I did not enjoy. But overall, the experience was the same. Of like, yeah, this is about one slutty angel and one gluttonous angel, and they're super crass, and that's about it.
Yeah, I bring that up because it almost seems like something that was fan dubbed, just the way it was done, especially if you watch the Japanese version and the English version back to back, because there's enough difference between them to where I think, yeah, they just let the voice actors have fun.
Yeah, which is a good thing. I mean, it makes it feel more authentic when the dub is done like that instead of B-tier actors trying to fucking act. God, I don't like a lot of dubs.
I'll tell you, if you want a really good time, even if you don't speak the language, I'd check out Spanish dubs, man. Especially Spanish dubs from like the early to late 2000s. They were fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Because they actually use Spanish soap opera stars to do the voice acting.
Well, you see, no habla español.
Oh, it doesn't matter. When you can we can watch Death Note, it's like, light. So cute. So good. It's like watching a telenovela.
Okay, boomer. Let's move on to our next point because I don't know.
What is the next point? I've completely forgotten what we are.
We've gone too far off track, guys. We got to bring it in, reel it in. Show go.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the ethics of this and whether it's right or wrong. I just we didn't want to do this topic to harp on legality because we all know that piracy is illegal. But it's obvious that, as we've said, a lot of these people who do fan translations they put a lot of work and there's typically a lot of creativity behind them. So should the law provide any sorts of protection for them, like, at all?
No.
I mean, this is especially relevant for light novels because the amount of work and creativity and like the hot sweat and blood that goes into translating that, it's so much, and it honestly deserves a lot of respect. Translators deserve a lot of respect because what they do, I honestly think, is an art form. Like, yes, the original author is also an artist, but the translation is also very, very creativity heavy. Like, it does require a really in-depth understanding of not only the language, but like just a literary understanding in general.
Yeah. So are you saying that the work of translation is inherently artistic?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. I was just wondering if I needed some clarification on that.
So I said no. And the reason I'm saying no is because it depends, right? If you're a website that's translating it and trying to make a profit, because there are some translators out there who are like, hey, give me money because I work part-time as a student. I'm doing this out of my good of my heart, so pay me money. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I do understand, like, when me and Jason were reading, I think it was Riso Hime, I think it was that. We were reading a light novel together, not in the same room, not a weirdo. He introduced me to a series.
This isn't Wotakoi. You're not reading in the same room.
He introduced me to a series, and we both got to the point where it was done translating, and the translating group dropped it because some things happened in real life, and they just didn't have the time for it anymore. So I did try my hand at machine translating a little bit, and yeah, it's for one chapter of this volume, it took me, I want to say, 6.5 hours to translate. Like, because, again, only 20% of it is actually translated right, I swear to God. The rest is crap, and you got to reread it. Then you got to look up these words and see what it means. It took a long time. If I released that work and I was just like, hey, I did this for fun, or I'm doing this as a side project, yeah, have at it, then, yeah, I feel like they shouldn't say anything about that. But, that's not how publishing companies work. They'll send you a cease and desist and be like, hey, quit that shit, even if you're doing it for fun.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how
and for free, you're not expecting any kind of compensation
and
for it.
It doesn't matter to them. The fact that you're even doing it means that people won't buy the official release, and that's what sucks.
Yeah. I honestly think that go ahead, you say it depends, and I kind of agree with that too. I think if someone is doing a translation of a work that does not have an official release in the country it's being done in, and in the language it's being done in, I think that should fall under fair use.
And for the most part, it does. A lot of translation groups will pick up series that don't have an official release, but then when the official release comes out, a lot of them also drop it, because it's like, well, now that it has an official release, we don't want to get into any legal trouble, so we're dropping the series.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't stop some people who own like blog posts and still do it, thank them for...
And there's also nothing stopping the actual Japanese publisher from going across the ocean and saying, hey, stop that.
Yeah, and this is, again, why I'm like, I feel like we should respect the law. If you get sent a cease and desist, please do it, because it kind of sends a bad image to the rest of the translators who are just doing this for fun, doing it for the fans.
Yes.
And when you have groups that are like, no, fuck that, this should be free, it's like, no, dude, I'm not part of your fight. Don't lump me in with you.
Yeah, that's not a good look for you, because it makes you seem entitled.
Yeah, and then the rest of the industry is like, well, these fanlations are just trouble. They're trying to steal our business.
They're ruining us.
These multi-billion-dollar companies that don't even pay their authors that much anyway. Fucking assholes.
We made $1 million less last year.
Yeah, boo-hoo. Anyway, aside from my sarcasm, that's why I said no, because for the most part, these companies, when they send their cease and desist, you should just listen to it. Like,
yeah.
Until then, I said, yeah, you're right. Fair game.
Yeah, I think in the sense that if it's not available in the country, and especially in the language you are translating in, I think that should fall under fair use until it actually gets an official release in your country or in your language.
Now, what if it is officially released, but the translation is shit? And the fan translation is much better.
I still think so. The idea of a translation being shit is very subjective, and the law doesn't come down on things that are considered objective. So I think you're shit out of luck on that one.
I mean,
well,
you're right.
But what do you personally think?
All right. So legalities aside,
I think you should. I think the best thing to do would be to, number one, let the company that actually officially translated it know that you think it's shit, and if enough people think it's shit, it might get a retranslation.
I don't think they're gonna expend the money and the effort to do that. Quite honestly,
they might not, but it's worth trying, because you never know what might happen. They might at least get the message and fire the translator that made the translation.
Or you could be the change you want to see in the world and translate it yourself.
Start your own publishing company.
Yeah, so legality aside, I still like fanlations more than official releases for the most part, just because, like you've been saying this entire time, it's just another option. In case the official one sucks and I don't like it, I'll go read the fanlation one that apparently just has more passion behind it. Like, there's a lot of effort.
Why is it that fanlations can be better than the official translation, even though the official translation actually has money behind it?
Because
I don't
the official
understand.
translation is done by a guy or a girl, someone being paid to do it. It's their job. They don't necessarily
not
like
because
the
they
series.
want to do it. It's because they have to.
They don't
They're
give a
being
shit.
told to do it.
Money corrupts everyone.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
I will say one of the things that makes I mentioned this earlier, the company Vertical. One of the things that makes their translations a little better, in my opinion, is they try to choose translators for their projects who are actually passionate about the projects that they've licensed.
Yeah, and
That is.
it's just again, translators, they do this for fun for the most part. They do it for practice, and they like what they're doing. They like the series that they're doing. It's easier to be more critical of what you're doing when you enjoy what you're doing, because you want to crank out quality content. Like, you want to actually translate what the author is trying to convey to you properly, versus someone who's being paid is like, well, this, you could say it means this, and I don't want to spend another 30 minutes thinking about this one phrase in this fucking 7,000 word chapter.
Or spend another day or two researching what this particular character actually means in its entire history in the language.
Yeah, like, fuck that noise. I'm only getting...
guess.
Whereas someone who's passionate about the language itself, learning the language, and the project that they're working on, they will put in the time to do that.
Well, there's also the fact that when we're talking about official translators, they're like editors. You know, they work on a certain amount of words per money charge or whatever. Like, for the 2,000 words, you got to pay me $15, right?
Yeah.
And on top of that, there's also, like, they can also do hourly charges, which is honestly not the way to go. Editors should always, if you're doing editing pieces for at least worded material, always charge by the amount of words or letters.
Yes.
Like, that's just, trust me, in the long run, it may seem like not a lot of money, but in the long run, it's way worth more of your time than it is charging by hour.
For sure, especially if you're a good translator, because people will want you.
Yeah. So that's kind of a part of the reason why I feel like they don't want to take as much time, because it's like, why, if you're revisiting the same phrase that you're translating like 3, 4, 5 different times to try to get a perfect translation of it, you're not getting paid any extra money. So what is the incentive for these people who sure, they're being officially paid, but there's no incentive to get it properly conveyed? As long as it kind of makes sense, it's like, well, yeah, this could mean this, even if it's not the best translation of it.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that publishing houses should pay their translators better, or hire translators that are actually passionate about their projects.
And that's a good point, because a lot of people who started out, especially in the late 90s through the early 2000s, started out just doing this, have become like full-fledged professional full-fledged professional translators.
Yeah, except we've had a discussion about this before where I went on a fucking tirade about of translation. Like, a lot of the people who, again, do this, they're doing it out of a hobby. They don't necessarily want to do it as a 9 to 5. There is a big difference when you do something as a hobby and a passion project versus doing something as a job. Like, jobs are deadlines, there's more pressure, and sometimes you just like don't enjoy doing the work anymore when that happens. And
honey, that's where the money comes in. The enjoyment gets supplemented by the cash.
I understand what John's saying, because I've seen it with a lot of video game streamers where they start out and they're really passionate about everything, and 5 to 10 years down the road, they are just coming on stream to make money, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's just kind of how it works, you know? That's kind of why a hobby exists. It's something that you should dedicate yourself to as seriously as you should take, like, a job or something else in your life, something you're passionate about. You should just be passionate about it. And it should just be about your enjoyment of it. It should never be about the money. Like, for a lot of people, their hobbies are just time and money sinks. Like, and it's okay because it's something that they enjoy doing. And that whole bullshit.
You mean like this podcast?
Yeah. Like, this podcast is just a fucking time sink, a money sink. And I do it just because I enjoy it, you know? And sure, if I was getting paid, that'd be nice. But I feel like then once I started getting paid, then I'd hold myself to a higher role. I'd be more critical of a lot of things, and it doesn't seem fun anymore.
Start drinking.
When it becomes a business, it doesn't become a hobby. You know, when it transitions from a hobby to a business, it's not fun. You can't. I'm supposed to relax. You know, I can't relax if I'm thinking about it like a business.
Listen, if it becomes a business, we could just hire someone to do the
I thought you were going to say we can just hire someone to relax for you.
Whoa.
Just give them a list. Hey, here's my video games for the week. I need you to beat these by Sunday.
Review
I
this,
need you
this,
to get
this,
all
and
these
this.
dailies done while I'm doing the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. The whole point of this is that it's a passion.
Yeah.
Just like this podcast. So thank you all there for dropping in to listen to us. We hope you enjoyed it because we always enjoy bringing this stuff to you. If you want to check out previous episodes of the podcast, you can find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify. If you want to keep up with what we're doing, you can join us on Discord, Facebook, Twitter, and our website. Shoot us an email if you have any questions or if you have ideas for topics you would like for us to talk about in the future. Links to all these things will be down below in the description. As always, I have been your host, Alex, and I will see you next time. Go to work, John.
Don't need to tell me twice. I'm out.
Bye.
Come on.